So everybody's been talking Jaden Daniels, and they should. He is the face of the franchise, and how he goes, so go the Commanders. Last year he was great. They got to the NFC Championship game. This year he wasn't on the field very much, and they were awful and will pick near the top of the league in the NFL draft. I bring him up, though, Danny, because in a non-Jaden Daniels category, they got a lot of other work to do, and that seems to get masked by all of the discussions we have about the QB.
Sure.
The thing I think that might be most important for them, as far as their to-do list with their own roster, non-Daniels progression this offseason, is to re-up with Laremy Tunsil, their 31-year-old left tackle, who has played 9 years in the NFL. He is under contract for next season at a cap number of just under $25 million. So if they do nothing, a la Terry McLaurin this past year, then 32-year-old Laremy Tunsil shows up and possibly holds out and may or may not report to work on time to get ready for the season. But there's no real reason to push it with him anyway. You want this guy around. This is a position where guys tend to age pretty well. Look at 37-year-old Trent Williams, who's still playing at a really high level. There are other guys like 33-year-old Jake Matthews. And I think about, like, for years, the Eagles had an offensive tackle who was almost 40, was playing at a high level, and Jason Peters. Like, this happens at that position all the time. There's no reason not to pay him. And so we said we learned a lot about Adam Peters in the negotiation with Terry McLaurin. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we learned what he thought of Terry specifically, or how that position ages. I hope they don't waste any time. Just pay Laremy Tunsil. This guy is really damn good.
100% agree. This is one of those it's not quite to the level of quarterback for me, but it's close. We've been actually really fortunate here. We've only gone a few years over the last 20 plus where we haven't really been set at left tackle at a high level. We've gotten away with it a couple of years, but for the most part, this a lot of times can be an Eleanor for a team. I mean, the Ravens went through 17 different guys since Jonathan Ogden retired. They couldn't get it right, et cetera. Teams, quarterback is one, obviously, that's your white whale, but the 1A or the 2 on this is you got a left tackle that can do it. That position is more sustainable than a running back or a linebacker or some of the more high collision ones. For whatever reason, guys tend to play better longer into their careers. All for it. I think that's the priority for this offseason.
He has allowed the 6th lowest pressure rate at about 7.5% this season among tackles, the 5th longest time to pressure. So how quickly you get to the quarterback when you do, it takes over 3 seconds against Laremy Tunsil, which is top 5 in the NFL when you rank him among all the left tackles in the league. In fact, he's given up 3 or fewer pressures in 9 of 12 games this season, tied for 3rd best among left tackles in the NFL. When Laremy Tunsil's on the field, you do not have to worry about a really, really difficult position, to your point. His PFF grade is borderline elite at about 85. He ranks 7th of 82 tackles in PFF grading this year. In fact, his pass blocking grade, if you look at just how they grade him as a pass protector, which we know was going to be better than run blocking anyway, he's number 3 of 82 tackles in their grading. And he's actually been better in the run game than I thought. Because we had a bunch of people on from Houston after they traded for him, and they came on and they said, look, he's going to dominate and be unreal in the passing game. He's a white-collar offensive lineman. He's not going to get nasty or dirty. He's not very good in the run game. He's just okay.
He's fine.
He's 22nd of 82 tackles, according to the PFF grading, and it matches the win rate and some of the things that you see. He's also cut down on some of the false start penalties. That was the big narrative about him coming into the year. Like, this has been an A++. As bad as that Marshawn Lattimore trade was, as much as a couple of things that they've done have blown up in their face, not this. This was a grand slam win for Adam Peters.
Second deck bolt on that one. So, again, when you have that gift horse, he shouldn't have been available, quite frankly. Houston, for whatever reason, soured or decided money-wise it wasn't going to work. I don't know what I don't know there, but what a mistake.
Very strange, by the way.
What a mistake as far as I'm concerned.
Doesn't make a ton of money compared to the guys at the position. You had multiple years of him left. You weren't very good on the offensive line, and they still aren't. And by the way, you're good in competing.
Yeah.
You've got a young ascending rookie contract guy in C.J. Stroud. You're a playoff caliber team that right now is one of the hottest teams in the AFC.
That's right.
Very strange. That's actually a really good point.
The only thing I could think of is there was some sort of buyer beware. Maybe once he gets his deal, who knows, character-wise, if something changes. I haven't seen any of that. I'm trying to figure out from their perspective why they were so willing to give up a left tackle that can still really play.
Completely speculative, but I wonder, he's one of these guys that's like not going to practice on Wednesday. in training camp, every 3 days, he's going to take a day off. You have to keep him fresh. You got to keep him. And I have no problem with it because of how he's played on the field, to be completely honest with you. But that isn't for everybody. Like, I don't know what D'Amico Ryans' deal is. He's a former recent player.
Yeah, there might be something to that.
You would think he would be cool with that. But maybe, they don't like the idea of we got 6 guys on the side every Wednesday because we have an older team. And they want tackles who are a little younger who can practice and be on the field and work on that timing and continuity. I would say, give me a break. Are you special? Is this an upper echelon talent? Then practice on a Wednesday be damned. Like, I am ready to sign up for more of this immediately. With Ertz, with Debo, with Wagner, some of the other guys that you kind of baby on the practice field. I don't feel the same way, but the performance for those guys is nothing like what Tunsil gives you. So I'm willing to bend at the knee a little bit here. I'm willing to have different rules for him.
Same here. What do you think the deal looks like?
So that is the huge question. The left tackle market is such that right now Rashawn Slater's the highest paid guy in AAV at $28.5 million. Trent Williams at 37 years old is a $27.5 million man. He got paid recently. Christian Darrisaw got the big deal from the Vikings, is at $26 million. And then Tunsil is 4th at $25 million. So it's not like he's way down the board.
Yeah, he signed his 3-year deal fairly recently in 2023, right? So the other guys have signed more recently and, of course, have superseded him.
Now, I would say there's a possibility maybe that he doesn't get back in line and then he's not overly desperate to get a payday. But there was a piece in the Washington Post late last week. I think it was written on Friday by Tashawn Reed, who's the new reporter who came over who covered the Raiders. And he did a really nice job with the story. But he got some quotes from Laremy Tunsil. I don't know if you read it the same way I did, but it sounded to me like he was saying, yeah, I've proven myself, and now it's time for me to get my money.
That's how I read it. And I'd like it to be from here, but...
Totally.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was from here, but the money, please.
Could he play one more year and then at 33 try to go get paid? I guess that's possible. Again, the team has the final say. They have the leverage in that he's under contract for one more year anyway. So to answer your question, I was just giving the background on the money. I think you're starting at 27.5 with Trent Williams, but honestly, he probably, if you're paying him right now after this year, he probably wants to be the highest paid tackle in the league. And he may want 28.6 or $29 million. Is that something you're willing to do over 3 years?
Yeah, it's fine with me. And I know some people might recoil at that. Like, there are a couple spots where I'm not going to be fiscally responsible. Quarterback, left tackle, the pass rusher, and maybe one playmaker on offense. Other than that, I've got to be thrifty and smart and, economical. If I've got a star, I'll figure it out. But that's one of those spots I just go, what does it cost? Great. It's like there are a few things in my house. I sleep on my bed every night.
Yeah.
I will spend on my bed. Now, I'm not going to spend on the fancy thing I use once a year, but I sleep on my bed every single night. I will spend on that mattress, on the frame, and all the nice things. That, to me, is what this is. This is one of those essentials where it's a non-starter if I don't have it.
So Trent Williams got 3 years and right around $82.6 million in new money, which was like 27 and change as we talked about. And he signed that in September of last year, I think it was.
Yep.
1 year ago. Now, the cap has gone up pretty considerably since, which is what Tunsil and his agent are going to argue. But maybe you just adjust for the cap and do a similar deal. Whatever percentage $27 million was of that cap, you do now with this new salary cap, which is up. And it's probably closer to like 30. But instead of doing 3 and 90, Trent at that time was 36 years old. Tunsil's younger. I would spread it out a little more, because like Trent got $48 million in guaranteed money over the 3 years. I would do, even if it's 5 years and $150 million, which sounds crazy. Then you guarantee, what are we talking about? Like
the most ever has been
75.
56.
Yeah, so you guarantee like 65, 70, whatever that looks like. And you still could potentially get out of it in 3 years. But just doing the 3-year deal like they did with Trent Williams makes sense in that standpoint because of his age. But if you can actually have more years to push money into, I think that makes more sense.
And the 3 years, remember, lines up with Jaden Daniels before his big payday, right?
Which I'm not overly concerned about. I know that's definitely the big talking point. But one, they don't have bad money or big contracts beyond that.
Yep.
Two, this is left tackle. So there's quite literally nothing more corollary to investing in Jaden Daniels. That's what you're doing here. You are investing in the betterment, the well-being, the health of Jaden Daniels. But I guess lastly, I would say, too, the cap just goes up and up and up and up. I'm not saying like it's not real. I don't think that's true, but it's 3-4 years from now, the cap's going to be massively higher anyway. So you're going to pay some people huge money. Someone's going to get the bag. You can't just have a full roster of 50
today's
plus guys.
top of the market's tomorrow's bargain.
So I'm willing to pay whatever helps Jaden Daniels. Is that a left tackle? Is that a wide receiver? Is that a interior offensive line? No problem. But it sounds like we're in lockstep that even if he's asking to be the highest paid left tackle in the league at 29-ish, and sometimes the money's crazy and next it's 31, 32, who knows? Might actually be a little bit of a bargain and it's 27. But in that range, if he's saying, I'm going to be paid like the best left tackle in football, I'm going, cool, no problem. Let's have a press conference.
You got it, buddy. Yeah, where do we sign? Now, I'm just speculating, given the McLaurin situation. Do you think they might go nuclear and franchise tag just because they don't want any more long-term, they don't want any long-term deals for older players? Like, do you think that's on their radar at all?
They could. I don't think so.
I don't either, but I'm
They made the point, or they didn't make any points publicly, I guess, but the people that were talking on their behalf, seemingly, were making the point, look at how wide receivers age. It was always about wide receivers. I don't think you could say the same thing about tackles at 33.
No, you cannot.
So, to me, if you thought it was a losing battle to not pay Terry McLaurin, and the main reason for that was just how popular he was, how long he'd been here, how beloved he was, and you don't have that yet with Laremy Tunsil in 1 year. From a football standpoint, though, I think people are going to go, wait a second. You traded for this guy. You gave up a lot to get him. You're now not willing to pay him after he was awesome this season? What was the point of any of that? Because lest we forget, I mean, they didn't give up. It's not like they gave up nothing. It was a 2025 third and seventh round pick, 2026 second and fourth round picks to Houston for Tunsil, and a 2025 fourth rounder. They gave up a lot.
Yes, they did.
That was a 4-pick package. I mean, it was a boatload for Laremy Tunsil. So when you did that, to me, it meant you have evaluated and decided this is your left tackle for the next several years. That was not a 2-year rental when you're giving up that kind of compensation.